All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Hello, Stephen. How are you, my friend?
I am doing all right. How you been doing, Raz?
I am being good. Bit tired, but good. What's been happening in Stephen's world?
Nothing much, buddy. Nothing much at all. Enjoying life.
Nothing much. I see that we have a special thing with Stephen now because he has a Instagram now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I see Stephen is joining the world of social media.
I'm a trying.
Instagram. I'm very happy to see that. I'm pretty sure ABJ will be happy to see that as well. Hello, Hunter Dillon. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you as always.
How you doing, Hunter?
And there you go, Stephen. We've even got your Instagram username there for you now.
Alrighty.
So, people, you can now follow Stephen on Instagram as well.
Yep.
And look at that. Kai is in the chat as well. So we've already got some people coming across from ABJ's stream, which he did a really good stream. We've got Jake showing up as usual.
Jake, the tribal chief in the house.
Yep. Who, for some reason, has his name is Jake the Tribal Chief, but has a picture of Will Ospreay.
We might need a new nickname.
Make it make sense. So obviously today we had the Winter is Coming episode of Dynamite. AEW's episode every year is usually one of the bigger episodes, one of the better episodes that has a sometimes a surprise, sometimes something big happens. Didn't really feel like that this year.
Well, despite missing the opening match, to me, it don't feel like it. It's the best Winter is Coming. You know what I'm saying? Tony should have done. I've seen better what he does. It was about the 3 or 4 times he did Winter is Coming.
Yeah. It definitely didn't feel like a Winter is Coming, and it took them forever to announce that it was a Winter is Coming episode. Like previously, we've had Sting debut, we've had contracts signed at Winter's is Coming. We've had big matches happen. This just felt like to me personally, this felt like another episode of Dynamite, and it felt like it was not as thought about this year. Like they didn't think too much about what they were going to put on the show, and they didn't think too much about how the crowds were going to react to it.
Yeah, knowing that, I think they're eyeing more about that Continental Classic tournament more than anything else.
Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the Continental Classic tournament. I appreciate that we're getting that, and we're going to see the culmination of that at the pay-per-view. But you've got to still make the special episodes feel special.
Yeah.
And that's what Winter is Coming is supposed to be. It's supposed to be one of those special episodes. But to me, this one just missed the mark in that regard.
I agree.
So you said you missed the first match.
I missed the opening match and the Samoa Joe promo.
And that's okay. Well, I can go through all of that. So we started the show with a cold open, no intro music, nothing like that. Straight into the arena with Joe coming out, and he gets in the ring, basically talks about how he failed keeping MJF protected, that he saw that it was a beer bottle that was smashed and he could smell it was a Stetson, and then basically accuses Hangman Page of being the person who attacked MJF last week. Hangman comes out to confront him, and then partway through that, you get Roddy Strong coming out with the rest of the Kingdom, and they confront Joe and Hangman. Hangman ends up taking out Roddy Strong, and yeah, that segment was that, really. Yeah. Obviously, putting feelers into the whole Devil situation. Got a bit of a reaction when people thought Joe was calling out Hangman as the Devil. But we'll find out more about that later on in the night. Do you guys have any good ideas for a name for me to match Will Ospreay for my Discord and YouTube name?
No.
There's names.
Not on the top of my head at the moment.
But we'll come up with them throughout the night. Jake can give them to you throughout the night. We go from that to Roderick Strong versus Hangman. in the first match of the night. Decent back and forth match. Once again, continuing the story in regards to the Devil and Roddy Strong playing along into it, and Samoa Joe being there. Hangman with the victory on this one. We did get Hangman biting Roderick Strong. Can't say it was an instant classic because it wasn't, but it was a good match. It was definitely a good match. Jake, you've thrown me off now.
Sorry.
No, not you, Jake. Jake's thrown me off with the question.
Oh.
Jake, if you want a nickname, he does go by the Aerial Assassin. So that's definitely one. The Commonwealth Kingpin, Quicksilver, the Cat, the Sky King, or the Assassin. So there's a few for you to choose from, Jake.
Jake the Assassin.
There you go.
That's a nice ring to it right there. Aerial Assassin. Well, don't know if he's the Aerial. Hunter says
Jake the Aerial Assassin. Could work. Who knows? We went to, after that match, we went straight to the next match, which was a Blue League tournament match. We actually got a Blue League tournament match on Dynamite, and we got the return of Andrade El Idolo to Dynamite. Going against Brody King. Strong match here, good storytelling, good story with the fact of Brody being the big, strong guy in the match and being the guy that obviously people can they beat the crap out of him, or can they defeat him? I thought it was good. I like the way they did it. It was good to see Andrade back on Dynamite again.
Mm-hmm.
Did not end the way I thought it would.
That top rope suplex when they were on the top rope when Andrade fell was a tough one to watch.
Yeah, that really was. I didn't think it was going to end that way. Hi, Graves. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining us. Graves. I honestly didn't think it was going to end that way. I thought that I thought Brody King was going to be the winner on this one.
I thought so too.
I didn't think they'd push Andrade to the top on this one, but here we go. Like, now it's anyone's ball game in regards to the blue bracket. The blue bracket really does have anyone's name written all over
it. It's wide open in that blue league.
Yeah. I thought the way they ended it with him making him hit his head on the turnbuckle was a bit meh, but I understand for the story that's why they needed to do that.
It was a little botch, probably.
You reckon it was a botch?
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but it definitely played into the story in my eyes. Graves said, honestly thought tonight's Dynamite had a lot of passion and matches had reasonings for happening. Building fun stories. It's definitely a stronger show for AEW in recent memory from him. So Graves is of the opposite of opinion as me. Whereas I thought this wasn't as strong as it could have been.
Yeah.
I think that's because of what I've expected from Winter is Coming episodes previously. I've expected something big. I've expected something good to happen, or a debut or something like that.
Same here.
Yeah. We then go from that match to the Von Erichs backstage. Pretty lackluster in that regard.
But it's cool to see Kevin, though.
Yeah, it was good to see Kevin. He shouldn't talk.
Well, the
His
vocal
voice
cords is getting to him there.
Yeah. His voice, they should have let one of the younger ones talk, because obviously they still have the vocal cords, they still have it, and they are guys who are in the industry, and who are still in the industry. Graves said it could have been stronger, but I've grown to really enjoy Roddy Strong, Tony Storm, Swerve, and Extra. Was hoping the Von Erichs were in the ring, but hopefully it's the start of something bigger. Well, getting to that, we did have the Von Erichs backstage, and Orange Cassidy comes along with Danhausen and
Trent Beretta.
That's the one, Trent Beretta. Thank you, Stephen. Had a mental blank there. And Orange Cassidy asks the Von Erich boys if they'd like to, since he's got a match on Rampage this week, would they like to tag with him? Now, Danhausen feeling like he was thrown under the bus along with Trent Beretta. But then Orange says, we are in Texas. So
you're like, oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I would remember when I said Danhausen was going to resurrect the rest of the Von Erichs. You're not wrong there, guys. I think if Danhausen had done that, we might have had a bit of a better segment with the Von Erichs. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to seeing that match. It sucks as it's going to be on Rampage and no one else is going to see it.
Yeah. I know it's taped as usual.
Yeah. The problem with Rampage is it needs to either go away or they need to invest in it properly. Have it as a lead-in for Collision, or have it as a part of Collision.
Well, I've seen some people mention it in the chat in the past. Won't they have Rampage do an hour of dedicated to women? Women have some women's matches for an hour.
That would be fantastic. Have Rampage as a women's only show. Okay, your ratings won't be huge, but it's still something that could happen. Graves with the Von Erichs are a really good team. He met them a few times at MLW. If put in the spotlight, they will shine. Guess we'll find out, and who knows, we might get Von Erichs signed to AEW.
That'll be a good signing because I've seen the Von Erichs wrestle in MLW. They can go.
It's definitely a WCW thing then. The Von Erichs spent a lot of time in WCW and obviously WWE, but they definitely had they were definitely part of the Southern connection in regards to WCW.
Yep.
Back to our Rampage rant, though.
Yep.
I think that, yes, you're right. That could really work, having them be a women's only show, or even a showcase for the women. Like you have maybe 3 or 4 matches that are there with women and maybe 1 or 2 with the men.
And heck, they got women's wrestlers on that roster they're not even using.
Yeah.
Like Nyla Rose, Maria Shafir. I've seen Red Velvet in a while. We've seen, haven't seen. There's other wrestlers on that roster that they're not using.
Yeah. Graves said he definitely agrees about Rampage and Collision. They feel like B shows compared to Dynamite, which I feel should be the same tier as Dynamite. Maybe a brand split even. The thing is, they tried that. I want to bring in who's backstage and get their opinion on that one.
Okay.
Mr. ABJ, welcome to the show.
What's going on?
What do you think on this question? Maybe a brand split for Collision and Dynamite.
Does anyone like the brand split on WWE? Isn't everyone like clamoring to get rid of it?
You're not wrong.
No,
isn't that like the take? Why is there a brand split? I think AEW should do a brand split. I don't see it.
Yeah. Ricky, where's Rebel? And
I can answer that question about Rebel. She's in the makeup department for AEW right now. She's off TV.
No, she's not. She's
really?
not. She's no longer in the makeup department. Thunder Rosa is ready to return, but hasn't had the call.
Yeah, I think she's been putting a lot of stuff online. I think she's getting closer to her return.
The date for her to return is her hometown, San Antonio, a couple days before Christmas. They're coming to San Antonio.
It's a good call. I like that.
Graves said he likes the idea of brand split when the roster is overflowing. WWE isn't too bad, just has some issues.
Like 2 world champions. I don't like the brand split on WWE because 2 world champions, 2 tag team champions, but they're merged, but they're not merged. It's too much. I think a brand split is a good idea if used properly, but I don't think I don't want 2 world champions walking around. I don't want that. Like, I don't know. I'm fine with AEW and I'm fine with ROH and I'm fine with them being different and separate. I don't need a AEW A show and AEW B show.
See, I think if Punk had stayed with AEW and they went along the lines of Punk being the real world's champion, they could have eventually merged back onto that whole MJF Punk thing. Like,
sure, I don't think that was going to turn into a secondary world title on the secondary show. I think it was just continuing the story of I've never been beat for this, and this is why everyone should fight me for it.
Yeah. I think that if they
people going after a champion, like crazy to think that should be a storyline in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how long has Roman held it now?
Everybody wants a story, but nobody wants to get like, you know how you beat your story? You go for the title. You're like, but I can't win the title unless I win the Rumble. This guy's doing nothing. like Roman, show up next pay-per-view. I want to fight you. Hey, GM, isn't there like a 30-day rule? Like, can we wrestle next week?
Whatever happened to that rule?
Yeah, they're like, oh no, that rule doesn't apply anymore. You have to win the Royal Rumble so the champion can come out of his hole and wrestle in this company. So stupid.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
Well, he's approaching almost 1,300 days.
And he's wrestled what? 16 of them?
About that much.
Sting's had more matches in 2023 than Roman has.
Yeah, that's Sting.
Hell, I mean, Ric Flair, if he was allowed to, would still have had more matches.
Yeah,
and he probably would have died in the ring again.
Yeah,
but
like we need to make records, and we need to make those things. So we're just gonna put it on people and have them not show up, and that's the easiest way to break records.
Do you think? And this is a question for both of you and anyone in the chat. Do you think they are going to push it so that they remove Hulk Hogan from their timeline?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it's for.
Yeah.
For the record, Hogan's an idiot, charging $300 for autographs.
Oh, you think that's bad? The Undertaker's one-man show here in Perth for an autograph and a photo with him. $750.
Here's the difference. And here's where I'll give Undertaker his pass with that. It's still insane. $750. That can fly me to a different country and see a wrestling show. Just saying. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway. Twice. But the thing is the Undertaker, and I know this has nothing to do with AEW, but the Undertaker, he chose and lived a lifestyle under kayfabe where he didn't go to crowds and he didn't go to meet and greets and he didn't make his money the way a lot of wrestlers made their money. He foregoed a lot of money to keep his character sacred. So now that he's willing to, he no longer has to keep that character sacred. I don't mind him charging a bit more because he sacrificed it for 30 years to make that character special.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. He did definitely sacrifice it. Graves says he thinks Hogan will be there, though. Will always be there. I don't know if Raymond will surpass that. Could be wrong, though. I think his 440 is where the reign ends.
$1,000. Take a picture of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, Punk getting fired was the wrench to a lot of the storylines. It affected how Collision was taken. Just maybe a soft split. I think maybe just a soft split would work. It'd be a good idea to build some other stars who aren't used. Hunter reckons the title reign should have ended at 39, to be honest. Not wrong, Hunter. No. I think that the fall of Cody or the fail of Cody ruined any chance of anybody really caring in that regard. Like, I mean, people still care. They're going to invest in it because it is something that they're pushing. But I don't really feel like Cody deserves to win it. I think if he'd done it this year, it would have been perfect.
Punk sweeping the rug off of Cody.
Twice.
Again. It's expensive to be a wrestling fan with the prices of everything. Still love it, though. You are not wrong there. It is definitely expensive as hell.
Especially
Jake says that he will. Cody will beat Roman for the title at WrestleMania 40. So we've gone from talking about AEW to discussing the world of pro wrestling. Welcome to the show.
Yep.
Getting back to tonight's Dynamite, we get to what probably was the flattest segment of the show. And that would be the Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Ricky Starks promo.
Pretty bad.
In my eyes, the flattest segment. We did see at one point that the crowd on the hard cam side was pretty much empty. So it fell flat. I think it fell very flat. Yes, we're getting a tag match at World's End for it, which is going to be good. It's going to be a great match. But I just think that it felt the promo was lackluster at best. Then we get Tony Storm coming out to sit at commentary for the Ruby Soho versus Riho match. What did you guys think of the match?
Tony Storm's hilarious on commentary. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, her coming out and saying, "Should I do color or play-by-play?" was my favorite line of the night. And then she says, "I'm ready for my close-up," and they bring the camera and she just sucked her. I was like, "What is she do?" I love her. She's so good.
And then when Excalibur asked her to read lines,
yeah, she's so good. She's so talented.
Yes, she is.
The match itself didn't do it for me. It's hard for me to. So this is where the AEW is falling into the trap that I fall into with WWE, right? I look at a match like Ruby Soho versus Riho, and it screams WWE. Like, this person doesn't ever win. So why would I even believe that this person has a chance tonight? So going into that match, it's kind of like, well, kind of see how this one's playing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's really no surprise ever of like what you're watching sometimes. And sometimes it's just like, it's hard to get into a match. It was hard for me to get into this match. I don't really connect really with Riho. And I love Ruby Soho, and I'm just bummed that she's not being utilized, or she's not being like one of the higher stars. And that's only because I'm a fan of her. But the match didn't really do anything for me. It just Tony Storm on comment. I thought it was a fine match. I don't think it was terrible, but it just didn't. It's not something I really like got excited. I got excited for.
Since Ruby joined the Outcast, she's been downhill. I've always enjoyed Ruby Soho wrestling.
Yeah.
Lily with the comment of she's being the best Tony ever.
Wow.
I mean, how does that make you feel at ABJ?
She's banned. Tony with an I agree. Yeah.
Graves says that Tony's doing some of the best work of her career. Really happy she's shining in AEW right now.
Agree.
And I think we went over this previously, and that is that when she went to WWE, she was given a shoddy like joke gimmick and couldn't make it work. They couldn't make it work. But here in AEW, she's brought the gimmick. And they've made it work.
Didn't she have? Was it Charlotte? Who was it? Like, didn't want to put her over, and she had issues.
It was Charlotte because they want to throw a pie at Tony.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And look at Tony now. She's a multi-time women's world champion, and probably the biggest name in AEW for the women. Like, I know that Saraya is a big name, but she's not as big as Tony Storm.
No.
I mean, Saraya got a big ass pop in London, but that's because it's her hometown. So
yeah.
Overall, the match, average, as ABJ said, wasn't fantastic. Wasn't the worst match I've seen in the women's division. I've seen a lot worse. Next up, we got another Continental Classic match. Roosh versus Jay Lethal. Stephen, give us your rundown on that.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed Roosh in the ring. It's been a great match. I always like Jay Lethal too, but I hate to see him lose every match. He's better than that. But Roosh wise, it's a good win for Roosh. I like Roosh in AEW. Sky's the limit for him.
I like they continued or they played on the fact that he got tapped out last week or he passed out. They played on that and went with that's why he used the submission.
Yeah, he did the Mox finisher submission hold at the end.
Yeah. ABJ, what are your thoughts?
It was one of those matches where it was another one you're kind of like, oh, this is going to be a Roosh match. I'm fine with it. But I was kind of hoping maybe this could be like a spoiler where we all know point-wise Roosh isn't going to go any further in the tournament. So maybe you could have give Jay Lethal a win here this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it sucks because Jay Lethal is such a good competitor and is a great talent and has put on bangers over the years. Yes, he's in the probably twilight area of his career, but he's definitely a guy who can still put on banger matches given the right team.
That roster is so deep in AEW. I don't know what they're going to do.
Insanely, it's too deep. it's hard to use everybody.
Yeah.
So going back to that roster split, ABJ, if you were to do a hard roster split between Collision and Dynamite, what would you do? Like, who would you put where?
I still wouldn't do a roster split.
If you had to, let's say you had to, and you had Dynamite and Collision only. Forget about Rampage. Rampage doesn't exist anymore.
I just think we're looking at it from the eyes of a WWE roster, and I don't think you have to be the same way as your competitor. I don't think you need to split the roster. I think what you could do is you can say these group of guys are going to work stories for the next 8 months, and then once they're not needed for these 8 months, we take half that roster and let them go home and let them be with their family, and we have another 13 guys that we can rotate right in while they're away for 8 months with their family. And instead of looking at it as taking 100 guys and making 100 people always have to be there and travel and be backstage, but not even be used, let half of them go with their family, use half of them, and then flip them between seasons. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you go work at your job, if you work 12-hour shifts, you have 4 different shifts. You have an A shift, B shift, D, C, and D.
Yeah.
You're off 2 days, they work 2 days. Like wrestling could be like that. And as fans, instead of crying, I need to see my guy every week, let them realize give them an off season. If you have a big roster, rotate them every 8 to 9 months. You don't have to
sort of had that. When you think about it, we sort of had that when AEW first started. Week A, you would see one set. Week B, you would see a second set. Week C, you would see a third set. And then it would rotate back around to set A. But now it's just all mashed together.
Yeah.
Like I said the other day, I miss THQ. They were a good tag team.
Yeah. Jack Evans is a good wrestler.
Yeah. Jay White versus Mark Briscoe was up next in the Continental Classic. This one was a given. Jay White with the victory here. Did we really think that Briscoe was going to win here?
Nope. This is where I would have said if you would have had Jay White or Jay Lethal get a win over Roosh, get his big win, and then he goes into next week as a winner. He finally got his first win, and then Briscoe beats him next week. Everybody in that bracket at least got one win, and we already have our clear finals. You know what I mean? Everyone gets a little bit of a rub. You can tell a little bit of a story while you're inside the bracket, and you move on with it. You know?
Yeah, you're not wrong. We're coming to very quickly to the main event of the night, which was Moxley versus Swerve. Swerve is main eventing yet again. I think now the 3rd week in a row?
Yeah.
Yep.
3rd week in a row. And also for the 3rd week in a row, the 4th week in a row now, Moxley has not bled.
It's a miracle.
I don't care. That doesn't do it for me.
Jake says AEW tried doing a brand split with Dynamite and Collision when Collision made its debut because they wanted to keep Punk and the Elite away from each other. That failed when Punk was fired from AEW after All In. I don't think it failed then. I think it failed before then. I think it failed when he had Brawl out and when he got injured and then had to come back again before All In. When he got injured and then had to come back again. Because Collision was doing really well, but then when he went away because he was injured, it seemed to, and then they announced him back, it was like, did anybody really care? What are your thoughts, Stephen?
No, I didn't really care either, buddy.
Yeah. Maybe Jay, what did you think?
Sorry, short and sweet.
I think they had like a little bit of brand split for that reason to keep them away from each other, but like I don't think they were going to say these roster members were all going to be Collision only, and I think maybe they were trying to do that with FTR going over there, and there was kind of like a brand split, but there wasn't. Like, hey, these guys are guaranteed you're going to see on this show more than this show, and that's fine. But I don't like. I think when people think brand split, you have to have like separate your champions and do this and do that. I don't think everything has to be done the exact same way. It's like it's kind of like being like DC and a Marvel fan. Like I hate DC movies because they don't give me the same feeling Marvels do. Just because they're both superhero movies, each one of them can have their own tone. They can do their own thing. They don't have to be the same. And because one doesn't try to be like the other one doesn't mean the other one's bad.
No, you're not wrong.
You know what I mean? And I think when people try to say brand splits or compare one company to the other, they think that AEW has to be WWE. But when they do things that are similar to WWE, like, look at you ripping us off. It's like, then what do you want? You just want to pick a fight. You're trying to find a similarity, and it's annoying. It's an annoying way to cover wrestling, and it's boring. And get better, internet wrestling community, because you're lazy and you're just rewashing what you read on the internet today. So come up with an original thought.
Yeah, I just not dig the brand split at all, guys.
I think it's a dumb idea. I think I've been watching WWE now for 5-6 years after coming back, not being a wrestling fan, and the brand split is like, oh, it needs its own champions, it needs its own this, and it's like, whatever, do you?
Yeah. I don't think a brand split needs its own champions. Personally, I think that if you're the champion, you should be working every show possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the brand split, half the time they didn't even acknowledge it. Like, oh, well, you can move one person per show per thing and do this. It's like, no, if you're making all these loopholes, then why have it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think the brand split is because they tried doing it for so many years and made all these different loopholes, and people can go there and people can go there, and then you can trade without having to trade another human being for it. It's just so convoluted over the WWE side. Why would you want that in the other comp? Like, that's the biggest thing hurting your storylines in that company. Why force another company to do that? Because not all the rosters being used, but I don't know. We don't know what's going on backstage. We don't know why certain wrestlers aren't being used. Maybe they're injured. Maybe they're injured, but they're not telling people. Maybe they just don't have nothing for them creatively, and they're not going to go out there and waste them by going out and getting taken losses. Like, there could be a lot at play that we don't know.
Maybe the wrestlers aren't pitching their ideas.
Yeah.
Maybe
there's a lot we don't know.
They're sitting backstage and they're sitting back there and they're not pitching any ideas to the booker of the show or the higher ups of the show and saying, hey, I think this would work great. And what do you think? Who knows? Like, they're all wrestlers are all creative people. So they should be able to pitch an idea. And okay, some of them you'll get turned down. Mm-hmm. Some of them will get thrown on TV for a few weeks. And then some of them will build into massive stories. Like, work with the company that you work for. Work with them. Work to get a better environment. If that's what you want, if you want to be on TV and you want to get like the recognition, put the work in. Make sure that you are trying to get on TV. Talk to your boss if you have to.
Agree.
Yeah. Anyway, we end the show with Moxley taking the victory over Swerve. I thought that was a stupid move. I thought Swerve should have been the one to win this. What do you think?
Mox pulled it tight.
This kind of shows me possibly have a different direction for Swerve. And I still think if Moxley wins this whole thing, that's probably where my disappointment would be, because I don't think we need Moxley in a possible world title picture. But if this is just a tournament you win at the end of the year and it's something, I don't know. They haven't really described to us exactly what to expect in this tournament. Are you the holder of 3 belts? Are the 3 belts gonna now you're a champion of 3 different things and now you have to defend all 3? Is this just one title now? Does this mean that you're just winning a title that's just represented in a tournament like the Owen Cup, but you get a title shot? Like, we don't really know what the winner gets, so it's tough to be upset about what the winner's going to get. But it's just something that I feel like, if it's just an accomplishment to say you did it, cool, Moxley did it, he's the first one to do it, fine. But if this is like, hey, the next person who wins this gets a title shot, I much rather see Andrade or somebody else get an opportunity to be a contender for the championship than Jon Moxley right now. The guy's been doing a lot. He can go away for a little bit, go home, relax, chill. We don't really like
Get
storyline
that
wise,
whole
man, it's not something we need.
Yeah, I mean, they have said that the winner does become the Triple Crown, the modern the modern American Triple Crown champion.
But
So
we
they
don't know
win.
what that's significant, like what that means.
Well, they win the ROH world title. They win the New Japan Strong title, and the third belt, which is whatever the hell that is.
So now, do you have to go defend the world ROH world title by itself? Do you go defend the New Japan Strong title by itself, and then
Pretty
you
much.
defend this new title that's the Triple Crown, or is this just like these
Three belts
titles
in
don't
one.
exist? They are now this title, and this title gets defended in 3 different places.
Yep.
It's a good question there, Abby.
I don't know.
It's a good question there. Jake wants to go back to Thunder Rosa's situation from earlier. He doesn't think that we're going to see her return in her hometown. He thinks what's going on is she's waiting out her contract and she jumps ship to WWE. Thoughts?
Maybe.
It would be cool to see Thunder Rosa back in AEW, but despite that reality show, they've really been bashing the holy crap out of her.
I haven't been watching it, but
how long did that show last? Is it still going?
No, they did a few episodes. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's Brett Breaker and Jamie Hayter were really smashing the holy crap out of Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. If
There's
there's legit heat, I can see her wanting to leave. Like I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think she would go to WWE.
I wouldn't see why not.
I don't think she'd be utilized as well as people think she would be.
I think she's in her 40s right now,
I think if anything, she'd become an NXT person, and that would be it.
I can see Thunder Rosa going to WWE, working for 2-3 years, and and going just to be like, hey, I have a school in Texas. I'll help your NXT Performance Center, but you should look at a couple of my students down here and maybe give them opportunities. Yeah, that's essentially what Booker T is doing. Booker T is doing a commentary gig just so they look at his students more that are coming out of his school.
Yeah, over in Houston.
Booker T is horrendous, and we don't talk about him.
But I'm saying I think Thunder Rosa has more into this wrestling game than others think, and I think that could be a huge thing. A huge reason why she would go to WWE is because if she went there and worked, she can give more opportunities to other people.
I think if NXT want anyone on commentary, it should be ABJ.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
They need someone who. Yes, I get that Booker T's a legend. I understand that, but to me, he is so horrible on commentary.
The voice gets me. I have a hard time with the voice.
The voice and half of his takes are just horrendous.
I had to mute my TV. I put ABJ on my cell phone and mute the TV on watch next.
Understandable.
So I like the other guy on commentary, but Booker T I can't stand.
Yeah. So before we end the show tonight, we get the Devil's Goons attacking Hangman Page. What did we think of this segment?
It didn't do anything for me. I know people in my live stream were saying, "Oh, it's the car spot that Jack Perry got in trouble with CM Punk. This is more signs that it's Jack Perry." I think at this point, I think they're just trolling the fans. You know what I mean? But that doesn't look like that. Looks like every other backstage jumping I've ever seen in professional wrestling. But I think because the Jack Perry idea of him putting through a windshield and the whole what happened in Wembley is being highlighted because of the backstage. It still looks like it's still 4 guys. It's hard to tell. 2 of the guys are bigger, the ones that slammed him on the car, and the other 2 guys seem a little smaller. But Mike Bennett and Taven are bigger dudes, so they can be those 2 guys. Like It's the hardest thing to do in AEW is when people are masked and not under like what we're used to. The size disparity of that company is vastly different. Where guys who we think look big are not that big, and then they stand up next to a guy like Billy Gunn, you're like, holy shit, Billy Gunn's a monster. But Billy Gunn looked tiny next to Big Show. You know what I mean? Like, so it's tough to say who's a big guy and who's not. Like Wardlow's a big dude, but height wise, he's only a little taller than me. You know what I mean? Like, but it's hard to say who the guys are. But I'm still heavily leaning that it's the Kingdom. I think that's Taven. I think that's Bennett. I think that's Cole as the Devil. And I think your other two henchmen are Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay. Yep. Jake says he's still going with Adam Cole as the Devil, and he costs MJF the world title at World's End.
It'll be a letdown if it's not Cole as the if Cole is not the Devil.
Yes and no.
I think so.
I think anybody that they reveal as the Devil is going to be a letdown.
You think so?
I think like they had so much that they could have pulled with this. Like there's so much they could have done with this. Like, but I think I personally think that Adam Cole being the Devil doesn't work if you want to keep MJF strong as a face. Because it puts MJF into that emo kid. And the I was betrayed status.
Yeah, but he could also play the role of like, yeah, I portrayed most of the people I worked with, so I had this one coming.
I guess he could do that. Like, I guess they could have that. What do you think, Stephen?
It can go either way, guys. It can go in either way.
It could still be MJF. He could be the greatest trick the Devil's ever pulled, is making you believe it wasn't him. You know what I mean? Like, It literally can go any direction. I have faith in the creativity of MJF in this story that I think he'll make it worth our while.
Next minute we find out it's Darby.
I would hate that. I personally think, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest with this. Things that I've been reading and hearing about with MJF backstage, this dude's in the production truck. Like, he's back there saying, like, yo, and during this spot, I need you to do this camera angle. Can we try this camera angle? Is like the above head shot with the four people surrounding the ring and Joe and like that screams to me that's MJF saying, I think this camera angle is what it needs to be. He's super hands-on with productivity, with the production team, with like, I think for the most part, I think Tony Khan has let MJF roll with this story. I think, and because I think a lot of times he's been trying to do these stories and everything's been going wrong for him. The Punk situation, the Mox situation, this situation. I think a lot of people that he's, I think a lot of people that are seeing this creativity of this story are going to come find out that I think MJF has a lot more to do with the story than they think. I don't think Tony Khan has much of a play in this as they think he does either. I think this is MJF's pure creativity. And I have the faith in that guy that I don't think it's going to be a letdown.
I hope so. And I really want to see it pick up for AEW once whoever it is revealed. I think we need an upswing for AEW. What do you guys think?
Well, if we find out who it is at World's End, I don't know if they'll drag it to Revolution.
I don't think they're stupid enough to. I don't think they're a WWE style in that regard. I don't think that they'll just turn around and be like, oh, we're not going to give you the answer you need. What do you think, ABJ?
No, I don't. I think it does go longer. I think if there's something, I think them revealing the Devil is just the third inning. You know what I mean? I hate to use that phrase, but I don't think them revealing who the Devil is ends this story.
Oh, hell no.
I
No.
think that's just the tip of the iceberg. And now MJF is going to have to fight through the goons to finally get to the devil. There's more layers to this story. I think if or when they finally reveal the devil, that's just the beginning of this and how this goes. I just don't think the world title. I think they cost him the world title, and then I think this story carries on without being a world title story. And I think the world champion then gets to roll with the storyline more and go that route. The only thing that makes me nervous is if Joe wins the title, do we get Joe Wardlow again? 14, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I think what
you know what I'm
get,
saying? Like,
I think what we get there is we get Joe Swerve.
How though? If Swerve doesn't win this tournament, what's the justification for Swerve to get to the title shot right away?
Well, look at how over he is. Look at how
that's fine. But how do you tell the story of because the crowd likes him, he gets a title shot?
It's a WWE logic.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. That's not the way. Like, you have to look. MJF rocked for almost 2 to 3 years in storylines and factions and stuff like that before he even got a hint of being at the world championship. Mm-hmm. I don't think Swerve's at a world championship level yet.
Yeah,
I think he has more to do to get to that spot, and I think him losing tonight to MJF is a sign of that. Yeah, I'm sorry, to Moxley is a sign of that.
Yeah.
In worst case, you know what's actually going to happen? That's even worse than all this. Chris Jericho is going to become a tag team champion. He's like, yo, Kenny, click, take me to some gold. I'm gonna hang on here.
Well, I would route the Young Bucks.
No, Jericho's going to be that guy that he's going to want to say, I've held all these titles. And I can honestly see Jericho inserting himself and listen, I love Jericho. I have 14 of his figures down there. I own 13 of his t-shirts. I'm a Jericho guy, but he's trying so hard to insert himself to stay on top. And it's just kind of falling apart right now. And he's like, it's not fun as a Jericho fan to kind of see him keep inserting himself. I don't care that him and Kenny are a tag team.
There you go.
And I don't think him and Kenny should be tag team champions. And I think I think what they've shown as a chemistry between these two is boring. They were both in the ring tonight trying to cut a promo, and if that's a hint of what we're gonna deal with as their chemistry as a tag team, I'm not into it. I didn't care less.
Like the t-shirt though.
I'm not buying the Golden Jets. I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm not Canadian. I don't get that joke. I know, like in Canada, you're stuck between your teams. So are you this guy or are you this guy? And it's just, as an American, I don't care about hockey that much. So your Golden Jets means nothing to me.
However, you can now buy ABJ merch on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yes, you can. You can be the second person to own a Pro Wrestling Tees ABJ shirt.
Yeah,
they're flying off like hotcakes.
Or you can go to Teespring and buy my merch, which is up there somewhere.
I think the sale's over, isn't it?
The what sale?
So.
The sale of the TeePublic.
Yeah, I think TeePublic sale ended yesterday. But they're always going on sale. Like, honestly, if you sign up for the emails, actually, 27 hours, they just put another sale up. 35% off site-wide for the next 27 hours, 46 minutes, and 10 seconds
on
TeePublic. Yeah, TeePublic just put another one out.
I've got to update my TeePublic merch.
It just said I made it. It said I made a sale.
There you go. See, ABJ?
Someone bought something. I don't know what they bought.
I announced you selling shirts.
Not like just now. It didn't just happen. But someone bought something. Someone bought something.
Last week I missed around on the Pro Wrestling Tees website.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And looked around all the shirts, and I picked like 125 t-shirts. It's like $3,000.
Yo, can I be completely honest with you? I do that sometimes. I go on there and I'm like, if I was a baller, this is what I would do. And I just load up a cart and I look at the
Here's
price. I'm like,
everything.
imagine if I could just be like, fuck it, 10 grand, bow. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'll never hit that in my life, but
Yeah.
but one day,
Oh, you
one
will.
day,
One day.
I'm gonna be able to be like this. Like, what am I gonna do with 400 t-shirts in one shot? The box that just drops it like a helicopter drops a crate of t-shirts like a care package on your front porch.
Lily said she's got to get a Raz shirt.
There you go.
I'll put the link in my bio eventually. I think it's on my link tree.
Yeah, I gotta get a shirt with you guys.
We have to do a combo shirt at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out.
But other than that, we've done Dynamite for today. Anything else you guys want to talk about while we're here?
Nothing I can think of. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry I wasn't as entertaining or exciting. It is 11 o'clock for me over here, and I have to be up at 5 a.m. So I'm a little tired. I'm a tired boy right now.
That's fair enough.
I think they're having that collision match, Danielson and versus somebody. Forgot who. I saw it on there earlier. Forgot who he's wrestling.
It's a big one. I
think
that
it's
for sure.
Brody. I think.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is Danielson versus Brody.
Oh, that's getting taped tonight.
Oh,
yeah, it's a taped episode. Yep.
Oh, that's right. Because
it's a holiday season, I guess.
They're leading into the holiday season, so they're going to tape a few episodes. ABJ, there's Lily's answer to you. She's telling you already have 400 shirts. You don't need to order another 400.
You're totally right. I need to get rid of the ones I have.
And then replace them with the other 400.
Yeah.
I wonder. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to double check here if they have any more insight of what's going on. It's not looking like it.
About certain somebody.
Yeah.
Is this who you were talking about on the?
Yeah. So as of now, it's nothing still confirmed. It's still up in the air, but tonight on an NXT taping, Ilya Dragunov was put in a neck brace and was taken off in a stretcher. He wrestled Ridge Holland and got hurt.
Yeah.
Some people think it's a storyline, and they're going to do a whole storyline of Ridge Holland hurting people. I don't know how true it is, but we'll figure it out. If I'm going to buy any T-shirt, I want the Sue Young one is really cool, but I have to buy the long sleeve Jamie Senegal. I have to hit her up. She has all of her tattoos all over it, and I have to buy it.
Oh, nice.
The Abaddon shirt looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's a really good one. But that's all I got, man. Anthony Blackwell, ABJ everywhere. Thank you.
Yep. Steven, we can find on Instagram at NomsGiant74.
Yep.
Myself, you can find it at RazDarkWolf on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Not OnlyFans, because I don't do OnlyFans.
Soon, coming soon.
I'll scare the people away.
I want to get one because like people think that you have one, it means it's adult content. And I might just do one and just make it, but not be adult. You know what I mean? And then they're like, yo, what is ABJ's OnlyFans? And then they go on to it and they're like, oh, it's just his podcast content. like
you know what Anastasia wanted to do? She wanted to get one and she wanted to make it that it was just videos and pictures of fans.
Well, I did that before on my Patreon. I was my Patreon OnlyFans. So one of the old podcasts, I said, go sign up for our Patreon OnlyFans. And when you went on the Patreon, it was just different pictures of fans. Every day I took a different picture of a fan and I put it on there. And only 2 people subscribed to it and thought it was funny, but then they unsubscribed very soon after. But I did that bit. It was funny for a little bit. But yeah.
Other than that, guys, we're going to get out of here for the night. Thank you, everyone, for being in the comments. It's really appreciated. ABJ, thank you for jumping on. I know that it's a big night for you because you need to work in the morning. Stephen, once again, thank you for coming on the show, even though you were late to watching the show.
Well, thanks
It's
for
always
having
good
me,
to have
guys.
you here. Everyone in the chat, thank you for coming along and talking. If you like what you see, click that like button. If you don't like what you see, that's your problem, not mine. But make sure you check everybody.
There you go.
Make sure you check everyone else out. Make sure you definitely click that button to follow.
Not all
ABJ.
is. Not all is. Some of you, you don't have to check me out. I'd rather you not check me.
No,
out.
you definitely
Some
have
of
to
them.
check
Some
it.
of the people that are probably in here, I don't need them. You can go away.
Anyway, we will get out of here and we will see you next time. Thank you, Hunter. Take care, my friends, and be safe.
Hail Satan.